Alright, well, so, your girl Tiara here. I just wanted to talk about, I'm on my way to school right now, but I just wanted to talk about what's going on in the world, well, in America now, in the news now, with Brett Kavanaugh and the sexual assault allegations that has been brought forth against him. In my opinion, I'm not saying just because, you know, somebody said, you know, something about somebody that it is, you know, immediately, you know, off the bat, that person's allegations are true. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying, and as I've made clear previously, I'm a Christian, so a lot of my references, if not due to something that I can find factual online, it'll be backed with the Bible because I'm a Christian. But I remember coming across the scripture that said that if a rumor or, you know, if something is said about somebody, you know, by one person, then fine, you know. But if it's said by more than one person, you know, 2, 3, 4, however many, you know, 2 or more, that, you know, more than likely, it is true. And my opinion with the Brett Kavanaugh case, not saying that he is guilty of sexual harassment. Not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that when someone comes forth with some type of sexual misconduct allegations towards anyone, off the back that they should be taken seriously, and they should, you know, go through the, you know, the correct procedures, so that way, if by some chance something did happen, it's not initially, you know, like pushed to the back burner, and it doesn't leave room for saying, well, see, you know, this person was sexually assaulted or raped or molested, you know, or harassed or whatever the case, and we, being ignorant, did not take, you know, we didn't take this matter seriously, and then it blows up, you know what I'm saying? So in that regard, I feel like allegations towards sexual misconduct, allegations towards anything that can be considered a crime should be taken seriously firsthand. You know, I mean, at some extent, it can exhaust resources, and if you don't have the manpower and all that, you know, stuff, it can seem like a waste. I understand that, but at the end of the day, you know, what is the purpose of having laws set forth if it only applies to a certain amount of people? You know what I'm saying? Just because Brett Kavanaugh is a judge, and because he is, you know, in position of a, you know, a high esteemed occupation, does not exempt him, you know, from the everyday activities of the rest of us. You know, like, just because he's a judge doesn't mean the law doesn't abide to him, you know, like, he's still held accountable. He still has to follow the laws. You know, it's the same thing with Congress, or, you know, the president himself, or police officers themselves. You know, just because you hold, you know, an occupational status that in a sense puts you above others in some aspects, does not mean that, you know, that you're exempt from being held accountable, you know, from being followers of the law of society. And these are laws that society has agreed on, you know what I'm saying? But my whole, I have a cold, guys, so I sound terrible, probably wipe, you know, end up blowing my nose or something in the midst. But what has been blowing my mind with this whole situation is the fact that people fail to look at this from not only an objective, you know, standpoint, but they fail to look at this as like an important matter, because a lot of people are not familiar with crime statistics whatsoever. Like, they're just not. You know, like a lot of people, they have opinions about how matters should work and how it does work, and you know, because they feel that they have so much knowledge based on all the Law and Order shows that they've seen, like Law and Order, the original, and the SVU. You know, you got Criminal Minds out there. You know, you have all these criminal justice TV shows and stuff that, you know, all these televised, you know, pictures where people feel like they're factual, you know, like their knowledge on how law and legal procedures, you know, like how that stuff functions, they feel like they have an idea because of the shows they watch. And that falls into this an actual term is called CSI effect, where people feel like that something works a certain way because that's how it works in the CSI movies and TV shows that they see, and it's actually completely different, you know, matters. And I feel like, you know, everybody of course are entitled to their opinion, but I feel like that people should have some, I don't want to say pride, because based on the Bible, pride is a bad thing to have, you know, because it leads into arrogance and narcissism and stuff like that. But I feel like everybody should have some sort of, like, you know, like oomph about them, where they sit back and say, like, I wouldn't want to let something out of my mouth where I can be looked at as an idiot, you know, or, you know, unreliable or uncredible, or, you know, or I don't come off as, you know, like, because I mean, me personally, I feel like if I was to say something and I didn't, you know, research it to have anything to back me up, I'm just saying something because I feel that it, like, I would be embarrassed as ish, you know, if somebody came at me, and you know how these social media warriors are, like, they come out here with the thumb thugging, and they just, you wrong, and da-da-da-da, I want to come at, and, you know, like, that junk could piss me off. Like, I'd be ready to motherfucking fly over to, you know, Joker's house, ready to put the paws on him and everything, because it's like, dude, one, you're not about to sit here and embarrass me. Like, okay, yeah, I said something, and it's not backed by science, but I feel, you know, strongly, I feel, you know, like, I strongly feel like, you know, like it's supported by my strong feelings. You're not about to sit here and make, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would be all types of pissy if somebody just pissed on my feelings because it wasn't supported by motherfreaking, you know, some type of facts and evidence. And a lot of people during this Brett Kavanaugh situation wants to blurt out, oh, evidence, where the evidence at? Where the evidence? First off, I don't know too many people who sexually assault people, rape people, that molest people, and leaving behind motherfreaking evidence. Like, motherfreaking people who commit murders and, you know, that commit, not just motherfreaking people who drive in their vehicle, smoking marijuana and motherfreaking drinking alcohol. Them jokers do everything in their power. Everything in their power. Let them in the rear view mirror see a cop rolling behind them. They'll do everything in their power to motherfreaking conceal the evidence. You know what I'm saying? Like, when people do stuff that they know is wrong, what make you think they just gonna leave this trail of evidence behind so that way, you know, everybody's job has been made easier? Like, I'm so tired of people saying, like, oh, Ford didn't have no evidence, she don't have no corroborating witnesses and all this other stuff. It's like, nah, shut up, because a lot of crimes lack that, you know what I'm saying? Like, domestic violence situation, domestic violence is illegal, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's against the law to assault, you know, people in general, but in relation to households, like mom to mom, or mom to dad, or dad to dad, sibling, you know, youth to elder, you know, like, there's laws in place that says, like, hey, domestic violence, no matter who the freak, the motherfreaking assault, you know, the aggressor is, or the victim, no matter who, what aspect you look at, whether it's child to parent, parent to child, children to children, you know, parents to parents, motherfucking grandparents. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's illegal. But yet, because there's no corroborating motherfucking witness in that situation, a lot of times there's no evidence, you know, because the victim, you know, they try to, well, no, don't, you know, because there's so many factors on why they don't want to pursue with, you know, legal proceedings. And people fail to realize, like, so domestic violence already get treated like this. Should we treat, you know, sex crimes like this too? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, you go out here and rob somebody or full-fledged punch a stranger in the face, you know, like, all hell breaks loose, which, yes, that is, you know, that's detrimental. It's severe, you know, it's serious. But at the same time, why is people prioritizing crime? Why is motherfreaking a crime, punching a motherfreaking stranger in the face, more, you know, more severe? You know, there's a possibility of reaping, you know, harsher consequences when you motherfreaking punch a stranger in the face versus punching your girlfriend in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't be prioritized because you didn't know the one person and the other person, you know, you're sleeping with. They're like, you know what? That's your girlfriend. You know, that's your wife. You know, that's your spouse, your husband. Like, you put hands on them, they ain't got nothing to do with us. But if you hit a stranger, then we coming in this. You know, like, it's a person. It's a motherfucking person. But people treat victims of domestic violence and motherfucking sexual crimes, you know, sexual misconduct, they treat those victims like they motherfucking garbage. Like, you know, like, their story shouldn't be said. And God forbid that in either one of those situations, you motherfucking accuse somebody of some motherfucking power, or somebody held at, you know, to a high esteem, or, you know, you motherfucking say, hey, you know, like, this well-off individual, you know, did this to me, and all hell breaks loose. First off, let me break it down to you. I'm so tired of people motherfucking getting away with, you know, murder, motherfucking sexual, you know, misconduct, everything under the sun because of money or because of, you know, whatever title they hold. Like, oh, he's, you know, the Stars quarterback. He shouldn't be, you know, like, this is a great kid. He's so awesome. He would never do anything like this. Or, no, this guy is our motherfucking senator. He's a U.S. senator. Like, there's no way possible on God's green earth has he ever committed a crime. There's no way possible. Like, no, this person could not have possibly motherfucking molested this little boy or little girl, because when they were motherfucking 7 years old, even though they like 69 now, when they were 7 years old, they were motherfucking altar boy. They motherfucking volunteered to take care of older people in the old folks' home. Like, your good deeds does not motherfucking, like, make your bad ones disappear. Like, I mean, it's clear in the criminal justice system. You look at somebody with a motherfucking record, you get one record, boom. All right, you got one now. And then you mess around and then you commit another crime. Guess what they gonna say in that motherfucking during the legal proceedings? Well, kind sir or kind ma'am, you know, we see here that you were motherfucking convicted, or not even convicted. You don't even have to be convicted. We see here that you were arrested for petty larceny. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have did so much great stuff in between the time that you was arrested for petty larceny to the moment that you're standing before a judge now. But you know what? It means nothing because you are a part of the majority. You know what I'm saying? If you're a part of the poor group, there is all possibilities that you have committed another crime. But God forbid you be somebody with some power. You know, you be somebody with some status. You know what I'm saying? There's no way possible you have committed any crime on God's green earth. No way possible. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's complete bullcrap. I think that is full-fledged bullcrap, because it's like, how could you possibly mother freaking, you know, like treat somebody like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm just tired of people with their whole twisted mindset. It's like, first off, I just want to scream to the whole world that y'all need to get y'all motherfucking facts straight before y'all start speaking on matters, especially when it comes to motherfucking crimes and stuff. Like, y'all quick to sit here and talk all this high rah-rah stuff about, you know, rape and all this other stuff. But have you ever looked into the statistics? 1 out of every 4 women has been sexually assaulted in their lifetime. 1 out of 4 women. So if you have a motherfucking group of motherfucking 100 women, guess how many of them motherfucking were raped and molested, or they were sexually assaulted? Can you do the math? Can you do it? You got at least about 25 women out of a group of 20 or 100 that motherfucking has been assaulted. Out of men, 1 out of 91 men in America has been sexually assaulted. And what is the amount of people? Like, what is the population? You know, what is US's number, our population number? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? We have to have, like, I don't even know. I know it's like 1 million people or something like that. Maybe it's like billions. I have no idea how many people is in America. But what I do know is that it's a hell of a lot. So if you have 1 out of 91 people, or 1 out of 91 men who has been sexually assaulted, out of what? 1 million people, you got a couple 100,000, you know, you got a couple thousands, you know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with the women, you know what I'm saying? And statistics get even worse when you start narrowing it down to children, because people fail to realize, well, then they attack her by memory with the whole saying, like, how could she have possibly remembered something that happened like 30 years ago, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's trying to remember, you know, she's saying that she remembers something from when she was like 15 or whatever. And then, so, like, they sit here and say, how can you remember something that happened so long ago? Let me tell you something. Are y'all aware of the motherfucking rape, molestation, you know, like, sexual misconduct statistics in general when it comes to children? Like, children are at risk of a lot of things. You are at greater of a risk of just about every possible crime existing as a child. Now, I'm not saying that it is impossible for adults to get raped or molested, you know, sexual deviances to take place towards them, you know, sexual misconduct like that. But what I'm saying is that it is possible, but majority of the people who experience these terrible situations like this are usually in their young years. Like the statistics for sexual misconduct to happen upon, you know, to be brought upon somebody, one, it's usually, you know, it's usually done to children, and then the statistics shows that most sexual misconduct comes from men. If I'm not mistaken, it's like less than 10% of sexual, you know, devious behavior, where it's, you know, in a violent behavior, you know, where it's brought upon or it's acted out by women, but it's less than 10%. About 90% of, you know, molesters, rapists, stuff like that, 90% of them are men. And then women and men. But when it comes to sexual misconduct behaviors, you know, stuff like that, that it is more likely for you to be sexually assaulted, you know, raped, whatever, by somebody that you know, whether it's a family member or a close acquaintance, friend, or anything like that. And people fail to realize, like, another thing is that rape, molestation, it's not a mother freaking conversation that you hold over the mother freaking dinner table. So just because, you know, your mom, your sisters, your dad, your brother, you know, your peoples haven't said nothing, like you may not have heard of anybody you know, experiencing anything like that except for maybe 1 or 2 people, and it's outside of your immediate family or whatever, doesn't mean that it's rare, because it's not something that people just want to be like, oh yes, I want to wake up, you know, like I want to talk about the time or times because there are people where that one person has experienced sexual misconduct, you know, brought upon them numerous times. And that includes sexual assault and harassment. But you don't have these people saying like, yes, I just want to talk about, you know, the time where I was raped and molested as a child or as an adult, or, you know, I just want to tell everyone, you know, like, because some people, there's different factors. It's like domestic violence, where people, they don't always come forward because they don't want the person to be arrested and prosecuted and all that, because of many reasons. They love them. They feel like they'll change. You know how it is when you feel like you love somebody and you think like this is just something that's happening right now because they're in a bad place. They'll change. Boom, you got that. You got people where, you know, even though they're getting beat on by their husband or, you know, their wife or something, they may be the breadwinner. You know what I'm saying? If they sitting up in prison for the crimes that they had committed upon that person, you know, how the freak are their bills supposed to get paid if this person is rotting away in jail? You know what I'm saying? There's no mother freaking you know, like, organization out here who's going to mother freaking take care of families if one of their members get placed into prison. I mean, the way everything is set up in America, you get put into prison, everything cease. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're a veteran who has disability benefits, guess what? They cutting that off. You ain't getting that while you're in prison. They turn off everything. Like, you pretty much are banned from society. Like, you're just like, no one wants you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, there's plenty of factors why people don't come forward in domestic relations or domestic violent relations. The same when it comes to rape. People don't come forward because it's an embarrassing topic. Not only that, people has in the past felt like if they said something, nothing to be done. I mean, if you look at history itself, what has really been done for the you know, the rape culture? I mean, outside looking at it, it seems like no one ever gets prosecuted. I mean, the amount of rapists that are sitting in prisons, nowhere near drug offenders, you know what I'm saying? There's way more drug offenders than there are rapists in there. And I'm pretty sure people out here, mother freaking raping, molesting, sexual assaulting, sexually harassing people, way more than they going around abusing drugs and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you got more people sitting in prison for mother freaking marijuana offenses, you know, marijuana possession versus, you know, rapists. That's the society we live in. You know what I'm saying? Drugs are more dangerous than these people out here with their twisted sexual, you know, imaginations, and then they want to do all this crazy stuff to people. Because I don't know why people rape and molest. You know, I don't know if it's a power thing or if it's actual for, you know, sensual pleasure. I don't know. I just know that it's nasty and it's a violation of a person. You know what I'm saying? And I don't understand why people ridicule that woman for some, you know, minute details of something that happened to her when she was like 15 years old or something like that, for the details to be, you know, a little blurred or whatever. It's just like, my dude, can you remember what the freak you ate yesterday? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, even the mind says, you know, like, there's plenty of research out here to prove it, that the mind works in wonderful ways, where when you experience something that could be considered, you know, like detrimental, that's like, oh my, you know, like something that's crazy, like a car accident, you know, you're gonna remember that happened. You may not remember the specific details, but for the most part, because something that drastic happened to you, especially while she was a child, you know, that during the time that her brain was developing, you know, so like stuff like that would stick to a child. Like, they, of course, they're not gonna have motherfucking full-fledged details as if it happened, you know, like 10 minutes ago or something like that. But it's just like people, their arguments for why they are against the Dr. Ford for coming up in support of Kavanaugh is crazy. It's crazy. Like, to sit here and say that there's no way that man could have done what he done because of the things that he's done, accomplishments wise, like where he's went to school and he's a, you know, he's a judge and all like that. That don't mean squat. I mean, we had a motherfucking president who was, you know, committing adultery in the White House. You know, like, this dude was under, you know, like, public's eye, you know, and then his wife wasn't even, you know, it's not like he took it to a hotel or motel or whatever. Like, this dude was getting it in the White House with his wife, you know, a couple of halls down. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, your status has nothing to do with anything. And for her to be deemed not credible because of the fact that there's no witnesses like that, I just think that's the stupidest thing. That is by far the stupidest defense, you know, against this whole situation, is that there's no evidence. You don't have corroborating witnesses. First off, I don't expect the mother freaking guy, what the freak his name, Matt Judge or some junk, I know his last name Judge. I don't expect mother freaking Judge, dude, to mother freaking say, yeah, I'll be your corroborating witness, even though I was mother freaking with Brett. You know, I allegedly was with Brett, mother freaking trying to run a train on you. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be your witness. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, come on, guys, let's bring a bunch of people in here. I mean, are you supposed to, like, sort through these people and figure out which ones are willing to snitch and which ones aren't? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see how they would expect to have a corroborating witness in the midst of a motherfucking sexual, you know, like something like that. Like, come on, man. This is not like, we're not talking about where they at work and, you know, there's sexual harassment and, you know, like, dude's like, oh, you got big titties, you know, in front of the whole motherfucking workplace, you know, saying, like, we're not talking about nothing like this. Like, we talking about, like, penises out. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all really think people about to be doing this? How many people have been raped, motherfucking molested, motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, sexually assaulted out in the open in front of other people, so they can be like, hey, you know, just in case you decide to call the cops on me for doing what I'm doing to you, I'm gonna do this in front of some witnesses, so that way you have some witnesses. Like, no one motherfucking makes that decision right before they do their, you know, criminal behaviors. No one does that. If anything, people are looking for a dark, secluded place so they can say, hey, there's no witnesses. You know, some try to come back, I'm not going to jail. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to prison because there's no one here to support you. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not a gender versus gender type thing, which it does blow my mind that females are the main ones that's on this whole, I won't say they're the main ones, but I'll say females are, like, for the females that has been against BLASEY Ford and motherfreaking in support of Kavanaugh and saying, like, there's no way this has happened because he's, you know, he's a prestigious man. Like, those women, y'all are motherfucking blowing my mind. Y'all are blowing my mind. Because, I mean, it makes sense, you know, for guys to say it. And I don't say that because it's because this is a good, you know, like, it's a male thing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, I think this is surprising because this is a behavior that is conducted predominantly by men against women, but not just against women, but it's against people's, like, I don't understand how you can be pro sexual misconduct but anti-murder, because in my opinion they're exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? The only difference is one person's alive and the other person's dead, but you violating them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are violating them. You're changing them in ways that they can't, there's no coming back from it. You know, it's like murder. You can't come back from murder. You can't come back from being raped, molested, sexually assaulted. You know what I'm saying? You can't come back from that. Like, once it's done, it's done. And, you know, and I feel like if she was a child, would y'all be saying the same stuff? Oh no, because we have gotten into this comfort of mother freaking prioritizing mother freaking crimes and basing and making it seem like, you know, it couldn't have happened because she's not a child and he's a judge. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.